Okay.
Good to go?
So we're ready. Yeah, we're going here. It's recording. Welcome to the webinar. This is going to be on the Facebook, really on sponsored ads, and just kind of how to drive some traffic through sponsored ads, and both via clicks to websites and also through video. So first, I'm going to have Tim kind of talk a little bit about some of the things he's doing just organically on Facebook as far as trying to drive traffic to some of his listings. So go ahead, Tim.
Okay, so Doug brought it to my attention in a conversation that an agent had no hits for a week on a property, and they were concerned because that, of course, that report gets sent to our clients. And I said a safe way or a good way to avoid that is to use your Facebook page, your business Facebook page. Post your listing on your business page or your personal page, and then you share it with the link of our virtual tour, which taps into the back office in private groups. You need to join the different private groups that are available out there to you. The SWIP and swaps, everything in real estate, North Phoenix, South Phoenix, wherever the property might be, property buy and sell. Anywhere you can find a place to get your property out there. And believe it or not, I mean, I had 12,000 hits on a property. It sold pretty quick. I was the second agent in line. I might have been the third agent in line. It had been on the market for over 8 months, and we got it under contract. We got it under contract in 4 days. Now, was it social media? Probably not. It was probably a combination of everything we do. But I think at least if it gets stale, for me, it's a great way to produce numbers and not have to explain to your client why it's gone dry. I mean, there's a lot of things you have to do to sell a property, but this is a very easy one to get exposure, and additional exposure. Who knows what an agent's putting in front of their client? So why not you try to put it in front of your client? Everyone's using social media in groups. And if anyone needs help on how to find a group, message me, call me, text me. It's easy. Anyone wants to set up a group, it's easy. For me, it's just a way to promote your listing, get it to the back office, get your numbers up, and that way you never have a conversation with a client about, hey, how come we had no hits? That's it. That's the short version.
Yeah, and just I'll show you guys real quick here. So like here's an example. I'm assuming you guys can all see my screen. This is the SWIP swap group. So if you just type in SWIP swap or SWIP-swap, just go to the groups tab. Let me go back here to home, and then you may see it over here in the drop-down menu, manage groups. But usually if you go on the side, you should see something over here that says explore groups, and then you can just click on that, and then you can just search up in the top. So SWIP swap, if I can spell. So then you can kind of see, here's all the SWIP swap groups. And basically SWIP swap is just buy, sell, trade type stuff. Mostly it's going to be people that are selling, hey, I've got an Xbox I need to sell, or a pair of shoes or whatever. Now, some of the SWIP swap groups I've noticed now are precluding real estate advertising. But it's the big key with most of these groups is if you go in there with just the profit or the thought of, I'm just going to post real estate, you'll probably get kicked out. If you do other things though, they'll usually let you slide on some of that type of stuff. The other thing you can also do here is there's Craigslist stuff as well. So Craigslist Phoenix, for instance. So here's a bunch of different Craigslist groups. These guys are obviously a lot more lenient as far as what they'll allow. But obviously, so here, this group has 2.8, so 2,800 members, 53,000 members, 9,400 members. So there's lots of different groups. The thing is when you're joining groups though too, make sure you don't join more than 10 in one day. Otherwise you could possibly get banned by Facebook because they're not stupid. They know why you're joining them. You're using it as a way to do free advertising. Obviously they don't want that. They want you to do what we're going to show you today, which is paid advertising. So anyways, just a quick kind of overview on that. That'll help drive some additional, additional traffic. And like Tim said, I'll just show you guys here real quick. Let me go to a listing. So just pick a listing, pick one of your listings in your listing manager, and then really all you have to do is just grab the listing link. And then when you come over to Facebook, now let me just go to one that I'm actually part of. Let me find one here real quick. There's my groups. SwipSwap North Phoenix. So I would just come in here and do a post. It's the same thing as if you're posting on your own, personal page. Copy the link. It's going to pull, or it should pull, the preview in. There it is. It's fetching the preview, and then basically just get rid of it and, check out my new listing in Verrado. Come out to my open house this weekend from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. or whatever. And then you can do your hashtags and all the rest of it. So basically very, very simple as far as how that, process goes. Once you're done, you hit post. Now it's in the group. And anybody that's part of that group will see it. Again, just double check, though, when you're joining these groups, act like I was back over here, or let me do I'll just go over here real quick and do the Craigslist one again. So when you're searching the groups for, ones to join, let me leave the page. Like you can see here, it says join. So I'm going to join this one as me, join the group. So you'll see request sent. So there's an administrator that'll approve it. Sometimes when you join, they want to make sure that you're actually in Arizona or whatever state you may be in. If you're in Colorado or California or Indiana, what is the capital of Arizona? What is the capital? I think it's Phoenix. It's just I know it's kind of lame that I live here and I don't know this information, but sometimes what they'll do is they'll ask you too, do you agree to our rules? No posting of this, and this. So sometimes they'll be very specific. Michael and I were looking at one yesterday where they were like, you can't post real estate, you can't post this. So a lot of times the groups, if people have abused abused some of that stuff, they're going to put some constraints around it to make sure that you can't, basically blow it up. Oh, well, hang on a second. It looks like we have people in the waiting room. So let me admit everybody. So there, everybody's in. I don't know why they didn't automatically come in, but anyway, so this is just a kind of a quick overview on the groups. If anybody that may be a little bit late, this is all being recorded, so you'll be able to come back in and watch it. So I would suggest start joining some of these local groups, SwipSwap groups, the Craigslist groups, anything that you're interested in. If you're interested in the keto diet, find, groups that are in about keto. Again, the big thing with groups, though, is if all you're doing is joining the group for the pure purpose of posting real estate, they're going to ban you in a heartbeat. So make sure it's something that you're interested in, you can engage with it. And then that way, then you're not going to be, booted out. And I think too, when people see you're engaging in the topic of whatever the group's about, they're going to be more apt to, pay attention to what you're doing if you end up throwing, the odd real estate post in. And I wouldn't spam it by any stretch. I would say, again, most of these groups like SwipSwap, it's like, I have something to sell. Okay, yes, I have a house to sell. So you wouldn't go in there and say, hey, are you looking for a house? Here's a list of all the open houses this weekend or whatever. You want to make sure that it's driven around one of your listings, but obviously with that link back to the property's website, all of those hits back to that website is what's going to populate on that hit report. So, and then just one more minor comment on the hit report before we get into the meat of what we're really doing today is the hit report is not all encompassing. The hit report is hits that have come directly to that property's website. One of the things we are doing, though, is we're modifying the link that we're putting into the MLS. Right now, the link that's going into the MLS is the unbranded Tour Factory link. So all of those backlinks. So when the IDX feed goes out and it goes to all of the brokerage websites, if somebody pulls up that listing and clicks on the virtual tour link, it is going to your virtual tour report, which is that second report we get. but the what we're going to do is have it so that it goes back to the unbranded virtual tour link that's embedded inside of the property website. That way it's still MLS compliant because it's non-branded. But number two is we get not only the click to the website to track, but now we actually will get backlinks from a bunch of other different brokerage sites and from MLS. So it should help create some additional juice for the listing as well. It's an idea that I got from a guy that I was talking to out in California. So anyways, enough on that. Any quick questions that anybody might have on groups or, driving some additional traffic to your property website for your client? If you do, just put it in the chat and then I can either unmute you or just answer the question. Okay, looks like we're good. I'm just going to make sure that everybody's in. I think we're all right. Okay, cool. All righty, perfect. So what I'll do is I'm going to kind of start the next piece of this puzzle, which is really why we're here, which is the sponsored ads. So when you guys log into Facebook, you're usually going to end up on your news feed, or you potentially may be on your homepage or whatever it is. So in order to get to your ads, there's a couple different ways that you can do it. I'm sure a lot of you guys have probably seen, sorry, this is my news feed here, where you may have seen like boosting posts and all that type of stuff. I particularly don't think boosting is a great way to do it because everything is driven based on impressions, not on clicks. And not that impressions are always a bad thing, but you don't necessarily want to just boost as a general means of doing an ad on Facebook, because I think obviously they want to take your money and they're going to make it easy for you to do something which is typically not in your best interest. So what you want to do as far as running an ad is when you come in the upper right, it's kind of hard to see, but there's the little down arrow next to the question mark here. So you're just going to click on that. It's going to show you all the pages that you manage. And then don't get hung up on this business manager thing right now. Business manager is kind of like the second tier for advertising. There's a lot more robust tools and stuff in there, but we're not going to go to that at this moment. What we're basically going to do is scroll down here to the Manage Ads tab. And when you click the Manage Ads tab, if I can talk, it should take you into your ad account manager. So this is my ad account, and then I'm just going to click on my name. And now it's actually in the ads manager itself. Sorry, my internet must be a little bit slow. I'm just going to move this little chat box over here so I can see better what's going on. Hide. What is this? This is something new that is showing up, but I don't know what it is. So I'm just going to drag it down at the bottom. Okay, so once you're in your ads manager, really what you want to do is basically just hit this create. Now there's, like you can see on this left side here, there's some different levels, and this is very similar almost to like building a drip campaign in the back office. So you've got the campaign level, you've got the ad set, and then you have the actual ad itself. So you might say, hey, my campaign is, Indianapolis. So these are going to be all the ads I'm running in Indianapolis. And then the ad set I might have is, buyer leads, seller leads, open houses, and then obviously the ads themselves resides underneath each of that category. So even if you're just running one ad, you're going to have to start at a campaign level, an ad set level, and then an actual ad level itself. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to kind of build one top to bottom and just kind of walk you guys through the process. So the first thing you have to really tell Facebook is, what is your marketing objective? And if you hover over these, you can see kind of on the side, or if you hover over the little I with the dot on it, it'll tell you. So brand awareness, increase awareness for your brand by reaching people who are likely to be interested in it. You're not really you may be creating a brand, but I'd say right now that's not probably going to be your primary goal. Reach, you want to show your ad to the maximum amount of people possible. That could be one. Traffic, send more people to a destination on or off Facebook, such as a website, app, or messenger conversation. Typically, this is going to be the one you're going to use if you're running like an ad open house, or you're trying to drive traffic to your website. Because one of the things that Facebook doesn't really like, now using it in a group is fine, to say, hey, here's my subdomain website for my property, you know, click this and go to it. In a group, those people are going to see it. But if you take that URL domain and post that onto your personal page, Facebook does not want people leaving Facebook. So I don't exactly know how the algorithm works, but they're going to try to show that to the least amount of people as possible. And that's why if you're doing posts on your personal page to say, hey, I have a new listing, the best thing for you to do on that is take an actual photo, upload it organically, put the data in, put the hashtags in, and say, you know, hey, DM me or email me or contact me through my phone number for more information. If you put an external link in there, you're basically shooting yourself in the foot when it comes to an organic post, because Facebook does not want anybody leaving Facebook. So they'll try to do whatever they can to show that to as few, people will see it, but they're going to show it to as few people as possible. Because again, they don't want anybody getting taken off of the platform. They want to leave them there. Now, when it comes to ad traffic, it's not the same thing. They're not as concerned about that because they understand the advertisers are going to want to try to drive them to landing pages and splash pages and those types of things. Engagement, get more post engagements, page likes, events responses, or offer claims. So depending on what you're doing, potentially if you're trying to get likes to your page or, you know, your business page, all that type of stuff. But, and I'm sure a lot of you guys, you know, have been through Facebook type trainings, the engagement occurs on your personal page. So to spend money to drive engagement to your business page to get people to like it, not that that can't be a longer term strategy, but unless you've established a real presence with your personal page, I think you're wasting your money on that. App installs doesn't really work. Video views, that's something we're gonna go through here in a little bit, because video views on Facebook are very, very inexpensive. And I'm going to show you how to set that video up, because there's a certain way you want to do it in order to make sure you're maximizing the money that you're spending. Lead generation, you can use that. They have a lead capture form. I've had varying success with it. More times than not, you have to get too much information from them, and it doesn't work real well. So you're almost better off driving them to a splash page to capture that information there. This stuff over here is really geared more towards retargeting and remarketing. So from a conversion perspective, catalog sales, we have not an XML feed, but it's a feed that goes into Facebook, which does all the remarketing automatically for your guys' listings. So we actually have a catalog, quote unquote, set up. So anytime a new listing is added to the back office, the catalog to Facebook is automatically updated. Those listings are automatically fed in. The pixels are already been installed on the property websites, and we can remarket to all those people that visit your website. So that's the other thing that can really be advantageous when you do all this additional posting around your subdomain site for your listing, is that when you drive that additional traffic there, now those people are going to be engaged in the remarketing and the retargeting, which the company automatically pays for. So not only is your hit report going to look good, it's actually going to probably drive some ancillary traffic because of the fact that they're going to be remarketed and retargeted too. A couple of questions. Oh, Rebecca's got a question. What if you put the link in comments? If you put that's a great question, and I don't know that I necessarily know the answer to that. If you were going to try to put the link in the comments, that's probably a safer place to put it, because it's not in the body of the email. So might be something, you know, worth trying. And comments are great too, because that obviously re-engages people. So when people do make comments on your post, sometimes, number one, it's best to not respond right away. Maybe give it a day, and then answering people's questions. Because every time somebody who has commented or has liked the post, when somebody comments or you comment back, that kind of resurfaces that post, and they get a notification that a new comment has been made. I think Facebook will show the link in the comment. It's just one of those things where it's not going to go out to everybody that's looked at the post or whatever. If they scroll down and see it, I think they would be able to click on it. So that may be something worth trying. I don't have an absolute answer on that, but I think that's a great idea to try. So store traffic, any of that stuff, you don't need to worry about that information there. So what we're going to do is we'll start with traffic. So we're going to try to drive traffic to a website. So that's going to be what we're going to do. Now down here, we need to name our campaign. So, whoops, this thing. I'm going to call this my listings. So I'm going to try to drive traffic to my listings. If you're running multiple ads, you can do A/B testing and budget optimization and all that stuff. But for the sake of when you're just learning this, don't get involved with that. Just keep it simple. So this is going to be a campaign that I'm doing for my listings. So now when I see it as my campaign and I want to run more ads, then I'll know kind of where and what campaign to put those ads into. So again, it could be open houses, it could be, you know, buyer leads, whatever. So whatever the kind of the main header is going to be for the type of ads you want to run under this particular campaign. So once I type that in, I'm just going to hit continue. And now up here you see the ad set name. So what you may want to do for this one is, you know, you could put the street address of your listing. It could be the name of your client. It could be, you know, maybe, you know, West Valley. Like for me, if I said, okay, if any listing I get in the West Valley, I'm going to put it inside of this particular ad set. So where are we going to drive the traffic to? To a website, to an app, to Messenger, or to WhatsApp? For the most part, this takes a little bit more knowledge. This probably even goes beyond my scope of knowledge. So for this type of an ad, you're just going to pick website. Dynamic creative, don't worry about that. Offer, don't worry about that. Really now what we're more concerned with is who are we going to run the ad to? Now, if you have saved audiences, you can use one of those. I typically don't recommend that though, because your audience is going to be changing depending on what you're running. So for this type of an ad that you're going to run, you're probably just going to create a new audience. So what we're going to do now is just basically come down here. This is where we're going to specify the locations, United States. Well, that's great, but that's a little broad. So we want to click the edit button. And then where it says United States, we're just going to hit the X button. And now we have no location specified. So what you might want to do here is, you know, like I could type in Indianapolis. And I can specify the DMA, which is kind of the whole demographic area. So greater Indianapolis, I can do city specific. So if I said, hey, I want to run it in the city, now it's going to default to 25 miles. So I might say, well, you know what, that's a little bit too far. I'll go down to 10. Or I might just say,
we should do it for
you know, current city only. So now it's only going to be Indianapolis proper. So you can also do it by zip code. Let me get rid of this. So I don't know zip codes in Indianapolis. So, well, I'll maybe do one for California. So 92127, where our office is located. So I might say, okay, I'm going to run the 92127 zip code. If my listing's in 92127, I might say, hey, this is great because I want to target people that actually live in the zip code. If I've got a lot of move-up buyers, this could be a good opportunity for me to target those people. So depending on what kind of ad you're running, that may determine, what type of demographic or geographic area, that you may want to, kind of focus on. Let me even do this real quick. Let's go down to, let me get out of this. So we're going to, let's maybe we even go, I'm not sure if you can go as low as community. It does. So now I got Verrado neighborhood. So you're going to kind of want to just see what's available to you, because obviously, like if I'm running a move up ad in Verrado, I may not want to target some of these areas down here because that might either be too big of a gap, or this potentially could be $1 million homes and they wouldn't be, not that they wouldn't be interested in downsizing, but it's just some of those things you want to kind of think through of where's my ad at, what's my ad for, and who do I want to target with this. Typically with Facebook though, more broad of an area is better, because once we get down here and start, sorry, I'm getting a little bit lower here. Once we get down here and start talking about age or other type of demographic interests and behaviors, that's going to constrain the population or the potential reach even more. So like right now with Verado, we say, okay, it's 3,100 people, but my guess is if I, start messing with, age, I might say, hey, this house is, whatever, 5,000 square feet. Okay, that's probably not going to appeal to somebody that's older, just because typically when people get to retirement, they want to downsize. So if I say, well, let me go from 25 to 45. Okay, so now my 3,100 people just went down to 1,800. So again, you don't want to constrain it too much, because what might happen is it becomes to the point where the reach is not large enough. Now you can even see here, Facebook's already starting to tell me your audience is too specific for your ads to be shown. So the problem becomes if you make it too specific, then nobody's going to see your ad. Basically, Facebook's going to say, we can't run this ad because there's not enough people to serve it to. And we would say, what do you mean there's not enough people? There's 1,800 people. You got, 404 to 1,200 or 1,200 people, and they're going to get 12 to 34 clicks. The problem is, though, when they deem it as too specific, they'll just say, sorry, can't run your ad. So hopefully that makes sense. So let's just go back here. We'll just make this broad. I'll just do Goodyear, Arizona, and go to a 10-mile radius. Obviously, that's going to put me well outside of Goodyear. But for the sake of the example, I think you guys get the point on that. So age, you can specify on that. Genders, I don't ever mess with genders because, hey, women and men both buy houses. So you know what? We'll target all of them. Demographics is where it can get to be a little bit more challenging, because we used to have the ability to say, hey, okay, I've got a $500,000 home. How much money would somebody need to make in order to afford that? So that way I'm not wasting, somebody's time or clogging their news feed with an ad for a house that, they can't afford because they only make $60,000. Unfortunately, with all the privacy issues, that stuff has all gone away. So if you try to search by income, now they've just kind of, household incomes, top 25%. So it's gotten a lot more generic, so you can't drill down quite so much. You could, but let's say you have, let's say you had a horse property. Maybe you search horse. So people that have interests in horses. So now that took my 250,000 down to 57,000. And maybe I say, well, the house is on a golf course, so maybe I want to, do that. So let me get rid of horses and search golf course. So people that are interested in golf courses. So I might say, okay, maybe I can do that. Now I'm down to 15,000 people. So hopefully you guys kind of get the point. A lot of times too, because we're in real estate, if you don't have a specific thing, like the home's not on a golf course, it's not, for horses. If you just got a house in a master plan community, that becomes a lot more difficult. So then you can start resorting to things like, people who have an interest in Zillow. So my 250 now went down to 79. So these are people that have specifically either liked something of Zillow or somehow expressed an interest in Zillow on Facebook. Maybe if you're in a more high-tech area, you can say people that are interested in Redfin. So that, and maybe I get rid of the Zillow, what does that move it up to? So that's 34,000 people. So, if you're in an area that maybe is a little more tech savvy and people, I know there's a lot of people in Seattle that come down here to look for homes and everybody's on the Redfin app. So if I'm going, hey, if I've got a house to sell, maybe I'm going to target people on Facebook that, like Redfin or have the Redfin app installed. And I don't think you can search by the Redfin app installed, but if they've got an interest in Redfin, they most likely do. And obviously, for those of you guys who maybe aren't too familiar with Redfin, Redfin's just another brokerage. So by you putting your listing on the MLS, your listing is going to be in Redfin. So again, lots of different ways you can think about, interest. How can I maybe specifically target more people that might be interested in the type of listing that I have? I'm just going to, just for sake of just doing this, I'm going to go, let's say first-time home buyer. No, nothing there, at least not that. So I'm just going to say home buyer, no results. Whoops, maybe if I do 2 words. So Colorado first-time home buyer. Interesting. So Colorado has a first-time home buyer interest group, or at least a profile. So if you had a listing in Denver that was, potentially, in that affordability, Denver is very much like Seattle. It's not quite as expensive, but I mean, you might have something in the $400,000 to $450,000 range that would be really geared towards a first-time home buyer. You could say, hey, okay, I'm going to, do that. Now, obviously here, there's going to be less than 1,000 people. So then if I go up here, and I'll just do this for sake of argument, so we can just see what this looks like. I'm just going to search Denver, the city, and do a 10-mile radius. Now I've got 51,000 people that are in this Colorado first-time home buyer group. So hopefully this kind of guide gives you guys a little bit of an idea of kind of what I'm talking about. This is something, once you get this, and you'll kind of figure out what works for you. But I think, something, to even just spend some time doing this and thinking through, like, hey, if I've got a listing, what are the interest things that I may want to target? If I've got if I'm just trying to generate, potential buyer leads and drive people to my website to do home searches, what type of people maybe do I want to target? So just kind of come in here and just, start typing in ideas and see what comes up. And, you may stumble across something that, works well. And if you want to share it, anytime we do these webinars, we're all about sharing best practices. You can always share with the group or send an email out and say, hey guys, I've been using this type of a, search or interest type category on Facebook. I'm having good success with it. Maybe give it a shot. So I'll just leave this for now. So just play with that. But again, you want to make sure when you look at this audience size up here, if you're in this red, they're not going to run it. So, and you don't want to be way over here either, because otherwise you could be hitting a ton of people that, are way outside of what you're actually trying to do. So once we kind of define this, I'm just going to come up here and say, if it's something, if you think this is an audience you're going to want to use on a regular basis, you can hit save this audience. So I could say, Denver first-time home buyers and hit save. So now I've created that audience. So now when I come back, if I want to run another ad, I can just come up here and say, use this saved audience that I've already created. So if it's an audience you think you're going to want to run to more than one time, then what you can do is basically save it, and then it makes it easier to re-access it. You don't have to rebuild it every single time. Okay, so down to placements. Typically, you don't want to mess with placements. It's better just to have them do it automatically. They know their system better than us. I mean, once you get good, if you wanted to try to do the edit placements and decide where you want it to go, I'll just click on this. You've got, Instagram Messenger, the Audience Network, and Facebook all together. So in the absence of that, now if you say, hey, I don't want my stuff showing up on, Facebook Marketplace because I think it's, those people there are just, it's a waste of time. The lead conversion is terrible. So you can, decide where you want it to go. And in the absence of you're making these decisions, Facebook will just place it where they think you're going to get the best return. Now, again, keep in mind, they're there to make money. So it's one of those things where, you can get a little more involved with this if you so choose. But I would say when you're starting out, don't get, too hung up in trying to manipulate this. Just go with what they're doing. So I'm just going to go back here and click on automatic placement. That way we'll let Facebook decide. Optimization or budget and schedule. So the next piece is the optimization for ad delivery. So I'm just going to click edit, and you've basically got link clicks, landing page views, daily unique reach, or impressions. So, everything's going to come down to a cost per impression, but it's whether you want to pay for a landing page view, a link click, which in our case is pretty much this is one and the same, versus, daily unique reach. So with this, they're only going to show your ad to somebody once a day versus, impression. They're going to deliver the ad to as many people as they can. And obviously, if you've got a limited budget, you can blow through this pretty quick. So typically, stick with link clicks when you're doing a traffic-driven ad. But again, there's nothing wrong with maybe try maybe 1 week, try the link click, or one listing, try the link click, and then the next listing maybe try the impressions and see if you get a different response. You can tell them average cost per link click, but again, typically sometimes if you try to go too low, then you'll end up not showing it to anybody. So again, a lot of times it's easier to just let them figure it out. You can obviously learn more, by learning the best practices and all that type of stuff if you want to kind of get into it. They've also got additional bid strategies where you can, cost cap it and bid cap it. Again, this is getting into the weeds, I think, for a lot of people. So it's probably easier just to, again, stick with link clicks at least for the first few till you get comfortable with it. Just focus on putting in a manageable budget and letting Facebook decide. So now when you get down to the budget and the schedule, they used to let you run a fairly low budget. Now I think they've minimized it to I think you have to spend at least $5 a day. So you can either do a daily budget or a lifetime budget. I usually do daily, and then what I'll do is click this next button here that says set a start and end date. So if I've got a new listing or I want to sorry, I got some questions here and I didn't see them. Had to certify with Facebook that I was not limiting age and or income, et cetera. I was not breaking the federal rules. And that's very common, Ange, when it comes to real estate ads. Many times you'll have to click a button that says, hey, I'm not violating. And part of it is because they've been called on the carpet. So they're just basically saying, hey, when you're running this ad, you can't be, trying to discriminate or, whatever. And that's why they got rid of a lot of those rules. But so long as you're, it's like, hey, it's broad. Yeah, I mean, and I don't think, saying, hey, I've got a 5,000 square foot house. I'm going to market that to people between 25 and 45 because I believe that there's probably more of those people than there are people at 65 or 70 that are going to want this size of home. I don't think that's discriminatory. But, trust me, when you submit these ads, it's not just, it's live. They've actually got people looking at them. And so when you see it, it'll show that it's pending. And then maybe 30 minutes later, you'll get an email or a notification that says, hey, your ad is now live. So they're going to address that. And they'll basically say rejected if they think or if they believe that it's violated those rules. And I think you may have even had some where they did that. I know my sister has, and sometimes it's very vague too. They'll basically reject an ad and you're like, why? There's nothing in here that would preclude me from, doing this. And they virtually give you no information as to why other than just like read the terms and conditions. So sometimes it can be challenging. Sometimes it's just even a word. So make sure that when you're putting your text in, you guys are following those fair housing rules and the fair housing words guideline. Because if you say, walking, if you're talking about the type of people that live there, any of that type of stuff could be considered as federal fair housing violations. And if somebody reviews that and sees those words, they could automatically just reject it. They rejected you due to an age. Okay, well, so then I haven't had a problem with that. So maybe it's something with it. I don't know. I don't know specifically why they would have done that. But you know what? Better to have your ad out there than so broaden the age out if you have to have it go to everybody. Eric's got a question. What's a good duration for an ad? I think really it comes down to depending on what you're doing. If it's a new listing, I think a week's good. If you're doing an open house, I would probably say to start running an open house ad, 2 to 3 days before. People that run open house ads like the morning of, it's like you're wasting your money. These people have already figured out what they're doing for the day. And if they see you're at 11 in the morning, on a Saturday and say, hey, I'm doing an open house from 11 to 2, they're going to go, well, I'm already out doing things. So that, wow, that looks great, but I can't be there. So open house ads, I would say run Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and then probably, maybe kill it either Friday night or early Saturday morning. Again, if you're doing lead gen ads, like saying, hey, are you looking for certain kinds of homes, or here's some, very, fast selling homes. This is another way, that you can think about creating, ad content or things that's going to draw people to click on what you're showing them is, run some searches maybe on the MLS for your area that you're working in and say, okay, what type of homes in these areas sell the fastest, or which ones are the most in high demand? Maybe it's a 3-bed, 2-bath, for Arizona, maybe 3-bed, 2-bath with a pool under 250,000. That's gonna, those are gonna go in days. So you could basically run a search, create a snippet on your website, create a page, and say, hey, check out homes under $250,000, 3 beds, 2 baths with a pool. And people are going to go, yeah, that's the thing. That's what I'm interested in. Now I've got motivation to click that versus like, hey, you're looking for a home, start your search. It's like, well, they're going to go, well, that's great. But so think about call to action. Maybe it's a list of, hey, would you like a list of all the open houses for the weekend in a specific area? Or, hey, if you're looking for new construction, check out my list of new construction homes and communities. So things that maybe is not as easy for people to find, or things that are, going to get people to motivate to action because there's some fear of loss. Hey, these types of homes sell really quick. If you're interested in a, 3-bed, 2-bath home with a pool under 250,000, you better check out my list because these things change quick. Or get the most up-to-date information, the most current listings, or whatever. So those types of things. So really, it's going to kind of depend. But again, if you're running that type of an ad, those homes are always going to be in demand. So I would say maybe with that, run it for 2 weeks, see what type of lead conversion you get, and then maybe you tweak. And I think once you start doing some of that stuff, then that's when you may want to say, hey, maybe I want to actually run an A/B comparison. Maybe I'm going to use this kind of call to action text on this ad and then change it up on this other one, and let's see which one actually converts better. So I'd say duration would be really, would come down to the type of ad you're running, also your budget. So there's a few different variables, but I mean, obviously I'd be happy to help you guys craft some of this stuff if you want help with it. So daily budget. So I'm just going to say, I'm pretending I'm doing this as an open house. I'm going to look at my little calendar here and go, okay, jump over here. Let's say I'm doing an open house on Saturday. Well, I'm not going to run my ad on Saturday. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start running my ad today. So let me go back here, click on that if I can. There we go. And I might say, okay, I'm going to start running this at noon today. And then I'm going to end it on Friday night at 11 p.m. So even though I'm technically got Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, based on the duration of time, I'm only going to spend $12.29. So now I'm going to go down here to say show more options. So this is where, again, we've already kind of said link clicks up here, and why they do this is a little bit kind of crazy. It's like, you're like, hey, I want to optimize for link clicks, but see, this is where they kind of get you. Oh yeah, you've optimized for link clicks, but guess what? Oh no, we're still going to charge you based on how many impressions we give. So for this type of an ad, like, hey, if somebody looks at it, that's fantastic. But if they don't click on it, then they clearly have no interest, and therefore I don't want to have to pay for it. I'd rather pay more on a per click basis, but know that I've got somebody that has legitimate interest in what I'm doing versus, this thing here, that's Facebook taking all my money, whether I get a click or I don't. So make sure under here you put the show more options. And even if, as a general rule, anytime you see show more options, always look at it, because again, that's where they typically hide the stuff that they're screwing you over with. So make sure you go down here, check link click, run ads all the time. Well, as a general rule, you don't want to mess with that. If you're running, like you can see here, scheduling is only available with a lifetime budget. So if I was going to run maybe an ad like, hey, home search, or, hey, I've got, these 3-bed, 2-bath homes with pools for under 250,000. I might say, hey, people are going to be looking at this stuff more at night than they are during the day. Although if you talk to, Facebook people, the average person is on Facebook 17 times a day. So more times than not, they're going to be looking at it all day long. But I would say most people are probably on either first thing in the morning or at night. And that's why realtors they're funny, because you'll see they'll post at 10:30 in the morning or 2:30 in the afternoon. And it's like, you know what? Most normal people are at work. So you're like wasting. And that's why when you talk about organic engagement, those types of posts don't get any sort of engagement because nobody's looking at it. And Facebook really looks and says, well, what kind of engagement on organic are you going to get within the first 15 to 30 minutes? So if you're posting at times when nobody's looking, you're going to get zero engagement on your post. So if you're going to be doing organic posts, especially for real estate, but really it should be for anything you do, post it at, you know, between 6 and 7 in the morning or between 5 and 6 at night, because that's when you're going to get the maximum engagement from your audience. So delivery type standard, again, some of these things they'll make only available to you if you, you know, go to the lifetime budget, which we don't really necessarily care about for this. And I got to move this out of the way so I can see what I'm doing here. So now that I've got through this, any questions on what we've gone through thus far with budget, schedule, how we're, you know, setting up, how we're going to get charged, any of that stuff? No, we're good. Okay, no problem. Then I'm going to click the continue button. We'll go to the next page. So now we're down to the actual ad itself. So for this ad, I want to know what this ad is. I'm going to say new listing. I'll just say young, whatever. So I'm going to create an ad. Now, you see this use existing post. You can use an existing post to do this. But obviously, your existing post most likely is going to have a just a static uploaded picture image tied to it. Now, you can assign down here. So you can do that if you want, or if you want to, you know, I usually say create the ad from scratch, but you can use an existing post if you've done one. This is where you're going to say how you want it to be displayed. So now when you're running ads, you have to run the ad against your business page. So you can't run an ad based on, you know, your just personal page. So my thought is when you have an ad group or you're creating a business page, you obviously want it to be your name. There is, like, I created one for Colorado, which I don't think I've running any, I don't even think I've ran any ads up there. But I just put it a business page so that if somebody went to our site, they would see, yes, I actually am the broker. But what you want to do is on my business page, I clearly state, hey, I'm the broker for TCT Real Estate. Here's my office address, blah, blah, blah. So I don't necessarily need to have, you know, Arizona broker or Arizona realtor after my name. This is advantageous, though, when you're running an ad, because when it shows up on somebody's news feed, it's not, you know, Doug Young real estate broker. It's just Doug Young. And they're like, well, who is this guy? Do I know him? Now, underneath my name, it's going to say sponsored. But if it's just your name, it's less likely to be perceived as an ad, which can be a good thing. Because a lot of times when people see, I mean, you guys might know, when I see ads from companies, I'm like, oh, that's an ad. You know, but versus like, oh, who's this person? Because we know on Facebook, we're connected with thousands of people. We don't even know 90% of these people we're connected with. So sometimes having it very minimized as far as, you know, hey, I'm a real estate agent, or, you know, hey, I'm a real estate company, which is why I very rarely run ads under the company brands, because, you know, there's way less engagement on those. So this right here is a good way to do it. And then obviously your Instagram account, I don't have mine in here, but the company Instagram account is there. So that one will end up getting run under the company. I probably need to add my own. So again, you can pick how you want to do it, but make sure that you actually have a business page, because you will need the business page in order to be able to run ads. You can't run ads off of your personal page. So the format, you got carousel, single image or video, or collection. This is probably the preferred way to do it. You know, people sometimes feel like carousels, but again, if there's too much going on, people are going to, it's like you got to keep it simple for them. So typically, you know, a single image, and then obviously we'll come back and we'll do this with video as well. Just because I think that, especially when they're on mobile, is going to be a lot easier for the consumer to engage with it. Media ad. So if we're going to use a photo of a home, so you're just going to click on this add media, and then I'm going to say add image. So, you know, here's a bunch of stuff that I've, you know, uploaded. I'll just use, you know, here's a picture here. I'll just use this. So I'm going to pick that. So whatever the image you want, I would typically say, whoops, what's it doing? Okay, so what it's showing you is obviously automatically cropped to square, because when you go on to Instagram, the pictures are more squared versus, so this one is actually probably not quite sized right for, so making sure that you have a properly sized image is important as well. So I'll just, let's see, 10 licenses are used. So it'll basically tell you that, see, different images are different, you know, right now this will work for newsfeed, articles, marketplace, stories, Instagram feeds. Okay, so it's covering the majority of them, so I'm just going to leave it as it is. And again, you can also add multiple images and turn it into a video, but it's probably easier if you're going to do that is just upload your images into like Filmora Go or something like that, create your own video, and then upload the video, and which we'll go through how that process works here the next time, you know, when we go through the next ad setup. Select a placement to customize, you know, again, sometimes less is more. So the more you mess with this, the more challenging it can be to actually do it. So obviously, starting August 19th, mobile news feeds will display differently. We're updating the way ads appear in the mobile news feed to match the new Facebook design patterns. So they're only showing 3 lines of primary text before the link to view more. So that's important to note. And mass media that is taller than a 4:5 ratio. Okay, I don't think we'll have any issue with that. But so, you know, you can put some additional text in here, but again, you're going to want to make sure that you're focusing on what people are actually going to see. So again, we're down here to the links. So we're going to select the link, is website. I'm just going to close that. So right here, it's nice and big and red. Post or paste your website URL there. So that's where you're going to go to your back office, you know, pick up your listing link, come back over here, and then just paste it in. And then it's going to pull it over on this side. Now, the image didn't change, obviously, because I uploaded a static image. But now we've got this Learn More button that's going to take them, when they click on that, is going to take them to the website. So you've also got this call to action. So you can do no button, which I wouldn't recommend. Shop now, sign up, subscribe, watch more, learn more. So depending on what you're doing, obviously, will depend on, you know, what you actually want them to take action. So typically learn more, because we're asking them to, you know, I mean, again, this is one of those things where you can try a variety of different things and see what converts better, because I don't know that I have, you know, the absolute answer for what is the best call to action conversion. So text up here, this is actually, I'm just going to just put 2 characters in. So you can see this actually shows up right under here. So this is where I would probably want to put, you know, if I'm doing this for my new listing, I might say, you know, new listing in Verrado. Check out this home Saturday from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. And then maybe I just do hashtag open house, hashtag Verrado, hashtag, you know, Phoenix real estate or whatever. You know, and actually when you're doing this, when you're doing listings, actually putting in, you know, beds and baths in schools is also helpful as well. I'll just put Litchfield Park. Schools. It's at least Litchfield Park Elementary. That makes it, out here it's a little challenging because we have, maybe some of you guys do, it's like different elementary school district than a high school district. But the point is then you can put some of your hashtags in. And I think too, hashtags makes it look less ad-like because of the fact that, you know, this looks, when you look at this here, other than the fact that it says sponsored, it looks like something, you know, somebody that they're maybe connected with might actually post. But down here for the headline, I might go open house, let's say, what is that? August 3rd, what is it? The first, second, third, August 3rd, 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. So now you can see that that's down here. It's bold. It's easy to see. So now if I take this back just a little bit, come back here a little. So what it's doing down here is it's pulling some of the text from your marketing remarks. But really, at the end of the day, that's not going to convert anybody. So whatever your headline, whatever your call to action is, make sure you put it, you know, right there. You know, if you were doing the 3-bed, 2-bath thing, you may want to say, see all 3-bed, 2-bath homes with pools. Learn more. Or, you know, I don't know if there's anything else in here that might work better. Yeah, probably learn more. Learn more is going to probably be the best thing that we've got, unless, you know, you're like saying, hey, subscribe to my monthly newsletter or something like that. So whatever your kind of call to action is for your ad, that's what you want to put in the headline section. And then obviously the text piece is what goes above the fold, I guess, so to speak, as far as what, you know, what you're trying to, you know, get across to them as far as, you know, like, hey, check this out. But again, like what Facebook said, only the first 3 lines of this are actually going to show. So you want to make sure you kind of keep this short and to the point. Advanced option, display link, newsfeed, link description. I don't ever usually worry about filling any of that stuff in. Just because I haven't messed with it enough, I guess, to, you know, so it's as additional text emphasized by people should visit your site. This won't appear on all placements. So you could put something in here like, you know, new listing won't, maybe I'll put new listing, new, so it's a little more descriptive, 5-bedroom listing in Verrado won't last. Something like that. And then we haven't really talked about the Facebook pixel, but when you're running ads, and Facebook pixel is geared really more towards remarketing. So if you were going to be doing like a lead gen ad, like where you're like going to be running it on an ongoing basis. Oh, hang on. Looks like Tim got kicked out, so I'm going to bring him back in. If you're going to run an ad on a ongoing basis, then maybe talk to me about doing the Facebook pixel, and we can put the pixel on your, you know, website. So if you're going to be driving traffic specifically to your website, you may want to run remarketing ads to those people as well. If you're just doing marketing or a listing ad or an ad for your listing or an ad for an open house or something like that, the pixel's really not going to be that big of a deal, as it's more of a kind of a one-time thing. Not that you won't want to continue to remarket to these people. So if you have a pixel, you know, Facebook, well, if you set it up, Facebook will know if you have it or not. If you have it, you don't need to turn it off. You can leave it on. But if you don't have it set up, it's not, you know, it's not a major issue. So once, well, let me do this. Before I go to the next section, any questions on what we've done on this page? So I'll just kind of highlight again. We're going to select single image. Well, first we're going to do is select our business account, single image. We're going to upload the picture that we want to use. And we're going to come down and we're going to make sure we select website. We're going to put our text in, put our URL in, our headline, the call to action button, and then, you know, another newsfeed link. Again, that'll only show up in specific places. So any questions so far on this?
We do it ourselves. We have photography. Do it just the way.
I don't know how to do it.
I can hear people in the background.
Sorry.
Oh, no worries, man.
We're talking about how great you are.
Oh, okay. No problem. I was like, I'm like, what am I hearing things? Okay, let's see here. Okay, it doesn't look like we have any questions on that. So what we're at this point, what we would do then is just hit confirm. I'm not going to hit confirm, obviously, because I don't really want to run an ad in Denver about my listing in Verrado. So that's basically how you set up that. So what I want to now do is kind of take you through how we would run an ad with video. And videos, it's not radically different. Really, at the end of the day, all of this stuff up front is pretty much all the same. It's just a matter of when you get here, you're going to, and you can do the video, you know, that we create for you guys for like the virtual tour video. I think though, personally, when it comes to video, if you're going to do a video, I think this is one of those things where, and those of you that have had any experience or any involvement with John's story, this is the type of stuff where you're the person in the video. So like you're talking about, hey, why do you want to use a realtor when you're buying new construction? You know, hey, why, what's going on in, you know, in the real estate market, or, you know, what's going on. So it's more about information type stuff of like establishing yourself as a credible agent. This is what you're doing. This is who you are. Now video views are actually, really inexpensive, but I do need to go back to the beginning in order to actually set this up for you guys. So what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to click on Ads Manager again. Actually, before I do this, let me go over to the pixels. So if you just click on Ads Manager over here, and you'll see Ads Manager and Pixels. If you just click on Pixels, I'm just going to leave this page. Sorry, my internet's a little bit slow. So if you didn't have a pixel already set up, let me just move this box out of the way to make sure I'm not seeing anything. Okay, so now it just says create ads. This is where you would add, you know, basically a data source. So the pixel is really a data source. So once you set up the pixel, basically if you just click on it, there's going to be some code. Oh, just one sec. I'm just settings, I think is what it is. Where's the code? Sorry, it's been so long since I've looked at pixels. I'm like, anyways, I can figure it out. If you guys need help with this, just let me know. There's code in here. You just basically grab it when you log into your back office, and I'll show you this real quick. Once you have the pixel code, when you click on the CMS tab and then click on the home page, you're just going to scroll all the way to the bottom, and you're going to put the pixel code in the header script box. So this is what a pixel code looks like. So once you click it in there and hit Save Changes, it's now on every page of your website. So it doesn't matter what page you run traffic to, it's going to be tied to that Facebook pixel. So I won't belabor this because it's been so long since I've looked at where to go to get the code. But if you guys need help with that, just let me know. I'll figure it out, and maybe I can even just do a quick video on where it's at. It's been so long since I've looked at it. Okay, so now we're going to go back here then, and we're going to create another ad as if we're doing a video. So and really the only major difference with this is, where I left off. No, I don't want to do that. It's right here. We're not going to click on traffic. We're going to click on video views. So same kind of thing down here. I might even just call this video ads for my campaign. I'm going to hit continue. Now my ad set, might be listings. It might be, maybe I'll just do general real estate info. So again, I can define my audience. Now, typically, if you're going to run ads, an ad may only cost you 3 to 4 cents for a view. So you can go a little bit broader because it's relatively inexpensive. But again, this is where video can also be advantageous when you're promoting your listings as well, because the cost per view is relatively low. Now, one of the things, especially if you're going to do a video of yourself, is by default, when a video ad is running, it is muted. So if you're sitting there on the screen and talking and blah, 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 no one's going to hear what you're saying. So this is where Filmora Go can also help. So if you're talking about, you know, maybe it's what you offer as a listing agent, and, you know, not only, you know, how much money I can save you, and here's all the marketing that I provide and everything else, they're not going to be able to read your lips. So another good thing to do, especially when you're doing video where you're speaking or talking or trying to get people to engage with you, is to superimpose text of what you're talking about on the screen. So that, again, that can be done through Filmora Go. There's a bunch of different video editing apps that you can also use on, you know, both computer and iPhone, Android. But that's kind of a critical thing to make sure. So, and also too, in order to stay compliant with, you know, DOL, you want to make sure you've got the, you know, company logo on there, you know, the Fair Housing logo. So if you guys, all of the Fair Housing logo combined with the company logo should be in Dropbox, but if you guys don't have it or can't find it, let me know. But just make sure that's in your videos as well, just to make sure that everything is, you know, compliant with the Department of Licensing and with Fair Housing. So again, we can go back to our custom audience, or we can just create a new one. Again, I'm just going to go down here, and maybe for this video ad, I say, you know, hey, I want to target, you know, all of Phoenix. So I'm just going to type in Phoenix, not Phoenix Sky Harbor Airport. That doesn't help me. So Phoenix DMA. So yeah, that might actually be bigger than what I want to do. So I might just get rid of that and do Phoenix, Arizona. If I can spell. I don't know why it's going to Sky Harbor Airport. Good night. Phoenix, Arizona City. Here we go. Okay. So that pretty much encompasses the valley. So I'll stick at 25 miles. You know, maybe I don't think 18-year-olds are going to want to buy a house. So maybe I bump this to, you know, 25, and then I go 25 to 65. So my potential reach is 2.9 million people, probably larger than what I'd want to do. But depending on how much money you want to spend and how much traffic you want to generate, you know, that may or may not be a good option. So again, we have our little show more options again. So we're going to click that. Okay, languages, people don't need to worry about that. So I can save this audience. If I'm just doing this, I'm not going to save it because that's an easy one to replicate. Placements, again, I'm going to let them probably decide. I mean, if I was doing a video, maybe I come down here and, you know, they've already removed right column and messenger inbox because it is video, but maybe I don't want it in the marketplace, and maybe I don't, you know, want it somewhere else. But again, typically I would just say leave that as automatic placement. Again, budget and schedule, optimization for ad delivery. They're saying through play, so we're going to see what the other options are. This is something new that they just must have rolled out because I haven't seen this before. 2-second continuous video views will deliver your ads to get the most video views of 2 continuous seconds or more. So this one here is, will deliver your ads to get you the most completed video plays if the video is 15 seconds or shorter. For longer videos, this will optimize for people most likely to pay at least 15 seconds. And this is interesting too, because one of the things later on, providing they haven't changed it, is we're going to ask them for do not charge me unless they view at least 10 seconds of my video. So I'd probably say to leave it on through play, but again, some of this stuff is new and you may just have to test it and see what works better. So obviously, like video views optimization has changed. 10-second video views is no longer available. Try through play for your campaign. So therefore, there you go. We got the through play is kind of the new thing they're doing. We're not going to probably mess with this. You know, if I'm doing this for video views, maybe I do a daily budget of, you know, I don't know, maybe $10 and set it for, you know, maybe to run for a week. So I could start today and then maybe I end it next Wednesday. So my ad's going to run for 7 days. I'm going to spend no more than, $70. So again, we're going to go back down to our show more options. When you get charged for is an impression. No, let's not. Let's go back and we'll do through play. So now it's basically saying we don't get charged if they don't watch 15 seconds of the video. So that's actually even better because of the fact that now it's not just 10 seconds. They have to watch 15 seconds of it before we're actually going to get charged. But again, notice how they hide it. So, you know, just make sure you're always checking those. When it says show more options, always drop it down to make sure that, you know, they're not trying to hide something on you or that is obviously going to be in their favor. And then we're going to hit the continue button. So again, this doesn't really change unless you had multiple Facebook pages you were managing and you wanted to run ads under different pages. Other than that, you could probably just leave it. Single video. Obviously, we need to add a video. So if you've done a video, this can also be done on your phone, but it's a little bit more challenging. So I'd probably recommend, you know, doing the video on your phone because that's easier, typically easier to do it on your phone, and then just use a USB cable and transfer that video to your computer and then do the ads off of a PC or a, you know, a laptop, Mac or whatever, just because it's a little bit easier to do. So I'm just going to pick one of my old videos that I did when I was in John's class. So I'm just going to pick that. I'm going to say continue. So obviously because it's already uploaded to the server, they don't have, it doesn't take the process of uploading it. So now what is it saying? You can change how your ad looks in different placements. So select a placement to optimize. So, you know, I'm probably going to look to, you know, probably Facebook news feeds primarily. Excuse me, let's see here, what's it doing? This is, some of this stuff has changed just recently. It's been probably a week or so since I've been in here doing this. So I guess if you needed to crop it or trim it or, you know, whatever, you can do that. Oh, it looks like they even give you the ability to put text in it now too. Interesting. So some of this stuff is actually new, and I really haven't had much time to mess with this, but I would say for the most part, you know, if you're doing a video in landscape like this, I would say the only time you may need to worry about this is if you're going to specifically, you know, saying, hey, I'm going to do a short 30-second video and run it on Instagram. Then you might need to, you know, focus more on cropping it because, again, you've got that square format versus the, you know, the landscape format. Let's see, it adds video streams. Okay, so it looks like I'm going to have to probably spend a little more time myself on this because, like I said, some of this stuff is actually fairly new to changes that they've made, and obviously they flag you again that they've got some changes coming. So we may have to look at look at this more closely and say, hey, is there anything that I really need to be doing differently here? So, you know, whatever the video is about, you know, call to action. This one here just obviously has my, you know, name and phone number in it. So it's not necessarily going to be a great representative example of what I was talking about, where, hey, if I'm talking about, you know, why you want to use a realtor if you're purchasing a new home, you may want to put, you know, like something like that at the bottom, you know, looking to purchase new construction, why use a realtor? So that way, then if somebody's scrolling down their page and the video starts to roll, they can see what the video is about. Now we can put it up here, but with the absence of, you know, or with the motion of the video going on, their eyes are going to be drawn to the video, not to the text. So that's why a lot of times you'll want to put the video or the text embedded in the video. So that way then they know, because then they can click on it, which will then engage the sound, and then now they're able to hear what you're saying. But again, if you've just got the video playing, most likely they're just going to scroll over it. The nice thing is, though, is you don't get charged unless they're watching it for a minimum of 15 seconds. I mean, you can add a website URL if you want. Whoops. Let me hit this here. So you could, I'm just going to paste our link back in like we did. But it can go, you know, it could be anywhere. So you know, we might say, hey, you know, down here under the headline, click to start your home search now, or whatever. Let me just, so now you can at least drive them to another. So now it's not just the video piece. There's also, hey, you know, learn more. And what you may want to even do up here, because obviously if they're listening to the video and they go, hey, I like what this person's saying, it's all about, you want to make it easier for them to contact you. I'll just put contact me direct at my phone number. Whoops, if I can type, I missed the number. So now they can see my phone number's in here, my phone number's here. They can click to go to the website. So obviously you just want to make it easy for people to engage with it if they like what you're talking about. So let me go down here, click the links you want to see people in your ad. That's a display link. Again, you can put the additional link or additional information if you want, not really necessary. And then obviously the confirm. But one of the things I did want to show you though is I'm just going to go back. Actually, let me go, sorry, I'm scrolling all over the place here. I just want to go back to this. So you can see right here, I'm only spending, well, actually, let's go back so we can make a direct comparison. I'm going to spend $5 per day. So I don't know if you guys remember how many we had before. We had probably something in the neighborhood of, I wanted to say it said like 12 to 18 clicks. Now we're talking 567 to potentially 1,600 views for the same amount of money being spent. So video is a very cost-effective way. But again, if you're going to do just a video and there's nothing there to engage the person or to prompt them to unmute the, you know, the video to listen to what you're talking about, you're just throwing the money away anyways. So, but again, people are looking for agents. I mean, they say the average person right now is connected with 8 to 9 real estate agents on Facebook. And one of the things that John Story, anybody that's been through his class, has kind of really, you know, emphasized is, what are you doing to separate yourself from everybody else? We know that, number one, people think that we're incompetent, most of them, and that's based on the fact that we don't demonstrate our knowledge on a regular basis. And then number two, we don't tell them what to expect. So if you start thinking about, well, what can I do for video? Well, it's like, you know, most people, again, we're into business. We hear like, oh, earnest money, inspections, appraisals. Most of those people that buy a house once every 6 or 7 years, they don't understand how a lot of that stuff works. So sometimes even just doing, you know, videos about those types of topics. Number one, it's great content for you to put on your website. It's also great content for you to put on your YouTube channel. But it's also great content that you can spend very little money on and create some additional exposure for you in your specific targeted area. Now, if I was doing that type of stuff, I probably wouldn't be doing the entirety of Phoenix. I'd probably focus on the area that I'm in. You know, maybe it's Carmel, Indiana. Maybe it's, you know, Oceanside, California. Maybe it's, you know, Highlands Ranch, Colorado. So if you're focusing on this on a given area, advertising and doing some of this type of stuff, because now people are going to be seeing you online. You know, again, if you're focusing and doing open houses in those areas, they're going to see you online. They're going to see you offline. They maybe see you in some sort of a print marketing piece. It's all about, you know, creating that branding and exposure. But two, it's also making people, and I think this is what video does, is it makes you a real person. Now you're just not a name and a phone number on a page. They see you, they can hear you, they see your, you know, mannerisms, and they're like, hey, this is a nice person. This boy, Rebecca is just, she just seems like such a nice person. That's the kind of real estate agent I want to deal with. Or Angie is like, she really just does, you know, seem like that. She's the type of individual that I'm going to, you know, engage with or feel like I can connect with. So, Angie was asking, does Facebook limit characters on the video like they do on photos? You know, I don't know for 100%. But at the end of the day, if you're just putting text, again, you're not going to put everything that you're talking. You're not going to be like putting your words verbatim. It would just be one line. And I have done this before, and they did not block it. I helped, I think it was Ginger up in, maybe it was, I don't remember. But anyways, I've helped somebody do it where we did one line snippets of what we were talking about. And in Filmora Go, like you can say, okay, I'm starting the video for the first 5 seconds. I'm going to say, looking to purchase new construction, why use a realtor? And then it'll be like, maybe 5 seconds later after I'm getting to the next piece, it's, site agents at new construction work for the builder. And then maybe 5 seconds later, I have another bullet. So you're not going to be putting text all over the screen. It's really just there to kind of snippetize, I guess, if you want to, that's maybe a new word, what the video is actually about. Because really, if you can't get them to click to hear it on the first 10 seconds, you probably lost them anyways. But the part of the problem is, though, again, with the default being muted, people are going, hey, there's somebody talking here, but I have no flying clue. Do I really want to click on it? So by putting that in there doesn't guarantee anything, but it really does help, create a little bit of engagement. They go, maybe if this is something that's interests me, I want to listen to what Angie has to say. So you shouldn't have a problem if you're doing one line at the bottom of the screen. That should not be a problem. But I don't know that they apply the same, 20% text to photo limits like they do with regular images. But if you're consuming more than 20% of the screen with text, you're probably doing too much anyways. Any other questions on video ads? Nope. Okay. Then maybe what I'll do, because we have a few minutes left, is I'm going to just quickly show you guys how to build a snippet and a page in the in your website. Would that be of interest to you? Okay. Nobody seems to really want to see this. No, I'm just kidding. Okay, here we go. Okay, so when you guys log into your back office, obviously you land on the dashboard, and what you're going to want to do is go ahead and click on, well, first off, let me do one other thing. So when you're driving people to your website, you guys have control over your forced registration. So depending on what you're doing, you may or may not want to make adjustments to this. So the first thing I'd probably suggest you do is double check your IDX settings. So click on the IDX tab at the top. And really at the end of the day, you've only got one thing you can control here. So just ignore this stuff on the side, because if you click on anything else, it's going to say you don't have admin privileges. It's your registration settings. So if I'm going to if I'm going to run an ad on Facebook that says, hey, are you looking for a 3-bed, 2-bath home with a pool under $250,000? Click here. When they come to the site, how quickly do I want to prompt them to register? So when they land on the page and it shows all the properties, there's no registration requirement at that point. If they click on a listing that looks interesting to them, if you have yes, always, it'll immediately pop up a box and require them to register. You can then say, so here are your options. It's no, never, which I don't recommend, because if you're going to pay to drive traffic there, unless again, you're offering them something of value. It's information they're interested in, or they probably wouldn't have clicked on the ad. They're not going to, just most likely volunteer and go, oh yeah, I think I'll create a free account. And, people they don't operate that way. So I would say either yes, always, or after number of properties has been viewed. So this is another way to approach it, is you could say, hey, after you view 3 properties, then force registration. So I would say probably if you're going to run ads, if you're not running ads, then hey, pick whichever one you're more comfortable with. If you're going to run ads though, I would say you definitely want to either go yes, always, or after number of properties viewed. And I would say don't go any more than 3. So 2, 3, you could do 1. But again, this is maybe something you want to test, but this is where you do that, is under this IDX settings right here. So any questions on this? Okay, it doesn't look like we have any questions on that. So I'm going to jump over. So now in order to create this page we're going to mark it to, I'm going to go to the CMS tab. Now there's going to be 2 pieces of this puzzle. There is the IDX snippet, which is what displays the information, and then the actual page itself. So if I know that I want to run an ad for 3-bed, 2-bath homes with pool, I'm going to go here and click on Add IDX Snippet. And this is basically all of the MLS search criteria for what data we want to pull in onto the page. So as far as the snippet name goes, this is the name of the snippet, but this is also the main bulk. This is the main piece of the code that we're going to put on the page. So I'm just going to call this Facebook. And now, and when I hit a space bar, you'll notice that it puts a little dash. I'm going to put 3-bed with pool. So, and then under the snippet title, I'm going to say 3-bed, 2-bath homes with pools under 250,000. Again, you want to keep it fairly broad. If you make it too specific, like if I drill this down, and let's say I say I want to show 12 results on a page, and you know my search has 6 results, people are going to go there and go, really, 6? That's it? So I'd say try to make it a little bit more broad. I'm going to leave it 48 on a page, which is the max you can do. I'm going to sort from highest to lowest. You can also sort from newest if you want, or the lowest. I wouldn't recommend that. I would probably either say new listings first or highest price listings first. We're going to default to the thumbnail, and then we want to show the price range links. Now, it's not as critical probably for the 250 and under, because we're going to have basically 100, 200, 200, 100, 200, and 200 to 300, which is obviously going to be capped at the 250. So this probably isn't as big of a deal. So I'm going to leave that one off. If I was running like everything up to 500,000, or you know, if I was running everything in Carmel, Indiana, I want to show everything, then I'm going to probably load those or click that price range links, because then if somebody lands on that page, they can go, well, hey, I don't want to buy $1 million home. I'm looking in the 500 to 600 range, and they can click on 500 to 600, and then it'll only show them homes in the 500 to 600 range. So I can do it based on city. So I can go through here and maybe I select, you know, let me go here. I'll pick Buckeye. I'll pick Goodyear. Where am I at here? Goodyear, and maybe Glendale. Where's Glendale? There. Okay, so I got 3. I want to show residential. Now, if you're just going to do one city, you can just type the city in, or if you're doing a subdivision. But again, because this is more of an ad-driven thing, we want to make it a little bit more broad as far as the results go. We want to go 3 beds plus, 2 baths plus, and we want to, I messed it up here, sorry, for price range, we're going to go 0 to 250. And that is pretty much it. So 3 bed, 2 bath, oh no, there's one more thing down here. I'm going to go swimming pool, search swimming pool. So this basically here, if you have no preference, it'll show you everything. If you exclude, it will not show you anything with the pool. Or if you want only pools, search swimming pools. So I've got at the top 0 to 250 in my cities that I've selected, residential, 3 beds, 2 baths plus, and search swimming pools. So I'm going to go down here and hit create. Okay, now what I'm going to do before I go to build my page is I'm just going to copy this right here. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go over to Manage Pages. And I'm just going to move this chat box out of the way. And then I'm going to come up here and add a new page. Now, I don't really necessarily want this shown to the public. So I'm going to click Hide from Navigation. And then what I'm going to do down here is I'm going to type in pound, paste my snippet code, and pound. And then maybe at the bottom, I do form contact. You don't have to, it's just if you wanted to add, that's going to put a contact form at the bottom. So my page title, I'm going to put Facebook. Maybe I don't want to do Facebook, because I mean, this is going to be in the index search. So maybe I put 3 bed 2-bath homes in Glendale, Buckeye, and don't use commas either because that will mess stuff up in the title. Buckeye and Goodyear with pools. So that'll be the title. This is just more of a Google thing than anything else. So for here, I'm just going to put 3-bed homes with pool. So this file name is going to be the extension. So it'll be, you know, like angie.thecascadeteam.com/3-bed-homes with pool. 3 beds with pool. And again, nobody's going to see this anyways. It's just there for more for effect. So then all I do is I hit create page. And you're going, it can't be that simple. Yes, it really is that simple. So now what I'll do is I'll go back to my manage pages. And I have a page that is hidden. So what I'm going to do is go into this hidden pages tab. And there it is, 3 beds with pool. So what I'm going to do now is click view and go, okay, do I like what I see or do I need to make some adjustments? So here it is, 3 beds, 2-bath homes with pools under 250,000. And we've got 2 pages, so we have at least 48 listings. So now we've got all this content for people to engage with. And like you can see, we've got the contact form at the bottom if they need it. But I think with this is the kind of thing where less is more. They're coming to this page specifically to see what you advertise. So don't put a bunch of other crap on here that's going to distract. Because at the end of the day, this is the whole goal. You want them to land here and you want them to go, wow, this looks cool. I think I want to check this house out. So they're going to click on it. And then depending on how your force registration is set, and obviously I'm logged in, so this system's not going to ask me to force register. But that's the whole goal, is you want to start them to get them engaging with, you know, these homes that are affordably priced, that have pools where they're going, oh my gosh, I didn't realize I could get a home with a pool for under $250,000. I better reach out to, you know, Angie and, you know, get more information about this. Or they're just looking, and then after they look at their 2 or 3, now they're like, hey, you need to register. Hey, absolutely. This is valuable information. I'm happy to register. And that's really what it comes down to. People will have no problem registering if they believe they're getting something of value. If they don't think there's something of value there, that's when you're going to have a harder time with either registrations or getting bad data. Now, one of the things we're actually looking at doing with the new site is making the phone number the password. So, because that's probably the biggest challenge we have, is a lot of times the phone numbers are bogus. So we're looking at the possibility of making the phone number the password. So when they sign up and create their password is not, you know, a name or whatever, or some weird string of characters. It would actually be their phone number. So anyways, this is as simple as it is to create a page that you can drive people to. So when you're when you're running the ad on Facebook, so if you said, hey, I'm going to do this, I'm going to run this ad on Facebook, waiting for my computer to go back here, this would be the link at the top. So you would just grab the link. Man, my computer is slow today. Right here. And then you would copy that. And then when you're building your ad over here, when it was asking for the link, so let me just jump back over here. This is our video ad, so we wouldn't necessarily do it with this, but you'll get the point. Where it says website URL, we're going to do post that. So again, it's not going to change the image we uploaded. So in this case here, you maybe what you do is you take an image of a house. That's not even one that's currently for sale. Maybe it's a picture of a backyard with a pool in it. And then all you would do is down here, where did my thing go here? Hang on a second. This probably wouldn't work as well here because it's taken away the bottom. But basically what you would do is with a headline, it would be see all 3-bed homes with pools under 250. So again, and everybody's area is going to be different. So, you know, you might say, you know, hey, in my area, under 400 is affordable, or where I'm working, you know, It's these types of homes that sell the fastest. So jump on MLS and just kind of do some different types of searches to figure out what's the, you know, highest home in demand. And an easy way to do this is search an area, and then basically in the MLS, say, show me everything that's been on the market less than 14 days. And then when you look at those results, then you can kind of just scroll through and go, hey, it seems like the common theme is, you know, 4-bed, 2-bath home in Parker, or, you know, a 3-bed, 2-bath condo in Oceanside, or whatever the case might be. So you can look in the MLS and just kind of figure out what seems to be in the high demand. Because if you say, hey, check out these $1 million listings with, you know, ocean views, people might go, well, that's kind of cool to look at, but, you know, I'm not buying one of those. So, you know, I'm not going to register. So it's just, you know, it's one of those things where you want to find those things that are, you know, kind of hot buttons for people, you know, stuff that's going quickly, you know, things that, you know, they may be in a multiple offer situation because those types of that type of product is very high in demand. So Angie has a question. Save the snippet under video, not traffic. Sure. I'm not sure I fully understand the question. So the snippet is in the back office. You save that and then you copy and paste it onto the page. When you have the page created, you take the link from the page. So we've created this page with 3-bed homes with pools. We're going to take this link here, and then we're going to go over to Facebook and paste that as our website URL. So that last ad that we did where we want link clicks, we would say, you know, check out these homes with pools, and then the learn more button would take them directly to the page we just created. Does that answer the question? I'll make sure I'm not leaving you hanging. And actually, I muted you if you want to ask the question. Oh, maybe, I don't know. Okay, but hopefully that makes sense. So build the snippet, and you guys, again, this is recorded, so I'll send this to you. Build the snippet, build the page, take the link, so then open the page up, check the page, make sure the data is what you want, grab the link, go to Facebook, build your ad, paste the link in where it says website URL. And then once you get done, all the way to the end, just hit confirm. And then, like I said, the ad will not be live right away. It'll take Facebook probably 15 to 30 minutes for them to have it reviewed. Oh yes, just to make sure the reach was video, not traffic. When you're driving the page for this type of thing, this would most likely be traffic, because you're trying to drive people to a website. If you're doing video views, or you're doing a video, then you would pick the video views. So let me just go back to the beginning real quick, and I'll just click on that and show you guys what I'm talking about. Okay, so ad manager. And my internet today is slow. So let me hit create. Oh, I don't want to leave where I left off. So here, so if you're building a page like we just did, you would do it under traffic. If you were going to do, you know, virtual tour video or a video that you're doing to, you know, kind of build, you know, brand, get people to reach out to you, blah, 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 then that's where you'd want to do video views. But for this particular, now it's not to say that you can't do a video about, hey, if you're looking for a 3-bed, 2-bath home, be sure to check out all these great listings. You could absolutely do something like that as well, and then you would put this link in. But my guess is this is probably going to be more effective in a link click type ad scenario than it would be in a video scenario. Any other questions on anything we've covered today? Nope. Okay. Well, I appreciate your guys' time. I hope you found this helpful. Once the video recording is rendered and ready to go, I will send it out to you guys. And I hope you have a great day. And feel free to reach out to me with any questions. I'm happy to help any way that I can. So I'm going to go ahead and stop my screen share and stop the recording. And you guys have a great rest of the day. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.